Hey, what's up everyone? The Dan Sandwich here, and I am back in automation and eventually BeamNG.drive. Today, I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm going to be using automation's AI car building feature to give me a car to start with, and then I'm going to basically turn it into a race car. So one of my favorite things to do in basically any driving game or racing game that gives you customization options and abilities is to take kind of regular cars you'd see on the street every day, and turn them into race cars. I love doing this in like Forza Motorsport and Horizon and like Need for Speed and things like that. So I thought I'd give myself the challenge to do that in automation. So basically the idea is like, say you're somebody who wants to buy like a used car to take to the track or something like that. You're gonna buy something, maybe a little bit older, and then you're gonna modify it in your garage or something like that. So that's kind of the idea I have today. So I'm gonna have the automation AI generate a car for me, and then I'm going to modify that car so that it is a fun car to take to the track. I am going to put myself on a bit of a budget. I'm not quite sure what that budget's going to be until I actually see what car they give me, because the money in this game is kind of weird. If you've ever like looked at it, like some things don't really seem like they cost what they should cost. But anyway, so I'm going to go to the car designer, and then I'm going to go, I did the toggle AI car generation option here. I picked the year 2002 because it's what is that, 20... 21 years from today. So an older car for sure, by modern standards. I picked pony budget, so I'm imagining this is like, I don't know, like an old Mustang or something like that from this era, like the base level Mustang or base level like Camaro from 2002 or something like that, because we're going Gasmia, which is like the stand-in for America in automation. I'm not super familiar with these other countries. I haven't really dipped my toes too far into the campaign because it's tough. It's very difficult, and I have yet to really figure it out. So I don't really know too much about the other countries that we have here. But we're going Gasmia. The year is 2002, and it's going to be a budget pony car. So let's see what they give us for that. All right, so this is the car that it gave us for a budget pony car. A little bit different than what I was expecting. Again, I was kind of expecting like a Camaro or Mustang body style or something like that. But what we have is a like a station wagon. That's cool. I mean, we can work with this. I am gonna give myself like kind of full reign to do what I need to do to make this car better for racing. So just like I would in like Forza, where you can do like engine swaps and aspiration swaps and drivetrain swaps and things like that. Might have to do some stuff like that just to get this better, because if you have ever messed around with the automation AI generator, it can do some kind of weird stuff. So this is like a station wagon that's rear-wheel drive, for example, which is good for kind of what we want. But we'll see if it makes sense once we drive it. I don't know too many rear-wheel drive station wagons. Maybe like the Volvo Turbo Brick or whatever. I think the Dodge Magnum was a rear-wheel drive station wagon. So it's not like they don't exist, especially in 2002. But they're definitely not very common. So I might be converting this all-wheel drive just to make it make more sense. But we'll see once we get there. Let's take a look to see what we've got going on here right now. Now again, I set the year for the car at 2002, but since we are basically taking this car and turning it into a race car currently, we are bumping the car trim year to 2020, so that we can have access to more parts that we can use to kind of upgrade this as we need to. So let's take a look to see what kind of engine they put in here. So let's take a look at the engine. It's an inline 6 cast iron. It's a 4-liter inline 6, so it's a pretty big inline 6 engine. Single overhead cam with 4 valves per cylinder, an aluminum head. We've got cast iron, cast, and a harmonic dampener on the engine. The interesting thing is that it appears to be a little bit too big. Well, I guess for a 4x4, it's too big. But for rear-wheel drive and all-wheel drive, it's actually not too big. It's a little bit big. But you know, let's see. It has VVT, so that's cool. It only revs to 4,800 RPM, so we'll take a look at that. Obviously, it's naturally aspirated for right now. Multi-point electronic fuel injection, single injectors there, standard low intake manifold. It's using premium fuel, and it does have cast low headers, single exhaust, and no bypass valves. Has a 3-way catalytic converter, no first muffler, and it is baffled on the second one. So obviously we're going to be taking that engine and kind of tuning it up as we need to. I almost wonder, do I call an audible already and turn this into like a sedan? Is that what I want to do instead of going with this hatchback body style? I don't know. Let's keep it like this. Let's just keep it the same for right now. They did, like I said earlier, it's a rear-wheel drive car right now with an automatic 5-speed transmission. So we're probably going to change out the transmission at the very least. Turn it into a manual, maybe an auto manual or something like that, depending on how much money we have to spend. There's currently no differential on here, but we're going to change that as well. It's using medium compound tires. We're going to have to upgrade those to sport tires if we're going to make this into a race car. 17-inch wheels is pretty nice for this kind of car. I'll probably keep that the same, although I probably will upgrade the rims to alloy wheels instead of steel. Vented disc in the front and then drum brakes in the rear. We'll definitely be changing that out, I'm sure. It is a semi-clad under tray. That's interesting. It is a, because it is a station wagon, we got 2 seats up front, 3 like a bench seat in the rear. It's a standard interior with a basic AM radio, so super budget for 2002. Although I guess, I don't know. When I one of my first cars I ever had was the 2002 model, and it had a tape deck in it, so maybe that's not too unusual. Hydraulic rack and pinion steering, that's pretty normal. No traction aids at all. That's also pretty normal for this. Standard 90s safety, so lower safety than modern, what would be modern 2002, but I guess it's not too far off. Standard springs with gas monotube dampers and passive sway bars. So yeah, that's let's see, let's take a look at the detail stats here. So currently the approximate cost is $20,400, which, that seems pretty normal for a budget pony car sort of thing. It's selling it for $10,000, which is well below cost. So even automation can't really figure out how the demographic stuff works, but whatever. So this is our starting cost, $20,400. Because we're going to save a little bit of money here by stripping out the interior. That's going to save us some cost there. I'm going to basically deduct that from here, and that's going to go towards our budget. Kind of the idea there would be I am taking out the interior stuff and then, like, say, selling it on eBay or like whatever, just to recoup some of the cost for the modifications. So you know what? Let's give ourselves a $5,000 budget. So basically, it's not going to, the approximate cost will not be able to exceed $25,400. So that's going to be our goal here. Let's see if we can turn this station wagon into a race car for $5,000. So first things first, let's go to the interior. We're going to strip out the interior. We're going to remove the back seats entirely. We're going to reduce the front seats down to single front seat so that it can be, more lightweight for racing. We're going to go to a basic interior, and then we're going to remove the entertainment completely. And we're also going to reduce the quality for this down to -15. That's going to save us quite a bit of money, I'm guessing. Let's also go to driving and safety aids, and we're going to reduce the safety down to none as well and go to -15 quality on that as well. So that's should save us some money there. So let's see, just by doing that, let's see where our budget's at. Oh my god, yeah, that actually saves us quite a bit of money there. So that's let's see what that savings turns out to be. So that saves us an additional $2,700. That's awesome. Okay, so that's gonna give us a lot of extra room to work with. So now that we have stripped out the interior, let's go to the engine and see if we can't get this to be a little bit better. So 200 horsepower is already pretty good. I'm seeing we could definitely let this rev out quite a bit further. Currently, it's only revving to 4,800 RPM, but it's capable of going up to 5,500 RPM, which is still pretty low for like a quote-unquote race car, but we can maybe adjust that as well. All right, so just by adjusting the cam profile and springs and lifters, we have added about 12 horsepower, which is pretty good. Let's take a look at the fuel system. We can upgrade the exhaust here. By upgrade, I mean increase the size of it. That's going to help give us a bit more power as well, usually. All right, it's 221 horsepower right now. Let's see. Yeah, that's going to be with a 3-inch exhaust, gets us about, what is that, 4 more horsepower. That's really good. Let's increase the, well, let's upgrade the headers. Let's go with tubular mid headers. Yeah, that added, wow, okay, so that bumped it up to 245 horsepower now. That's an additional 28 horsepower, actually. That's really good. Let's see, we can probably decrease the size of the headers now. All right, 248.3 with the upgraded headers. That's going to help out a lot. Oh, what am I doing here? This should have been the first thing I did. We're going to straight pipe this thing and cut off the muffler entirely. That gets us to 257 horsepower. Now the exhaust is way too big, so let's see. What if I reduce the size of that? Is that going to help? It does. That gets us to 261 horsepower now. That's excellent, excellent. So we cut off the muffler. We straight piped it. So that gave us an additional what was that, 4 or 5 horsepower, something like that. Let's increase the headers a little bit now, because now that we don't have a cat or exhaust, is putting a little bit more, restricting the flow of the header a little bit. So now we are up to 161.5. Let's go to the intake manifold and upgrade this as well. Go with the performance mid intake manifold. Oh wow, yeah, up to 306 horsepower just by doing that. That's awesome. Let's see, if we reduce the size of the manifold, that reduces our horsepower a little bit. Okay, so let's keep that the same. So we haven't even turbocharged this thing yet. We're already making 300 horsepower, which is excellent. I did want to turbocharge it, but I don't even know if I necessarily need to. 300 horsepower is really good for this car already. I don't want it to be undrivable. I was fully planning on putting a turbo on this thing, but I don't even know if I need to anymore. Really, the only thing that's holding us back is the RPM limit. And I don't think we've spent a lot of money upgrading the engine. I'd have to go back and double check to see where we're at budget-wise. So let's go back to the car itself. All right, so that was only about $700 or so. Where was it at? No, yeah, it was like 70. It was like 17,700 or something like that. So yeah, it was like that's like $700. We only spent $700 so far. I do want to upgrade. Let's do like the wheels and tires and stuff like that first, because I feel like that's a very important part of the car, as well as the drivetrain as well. Let's go with an auto manual 6-speed. It's saying the projected top speed is 190 miles an hour. Let's reduce that down. Oh, it has a limiter on it. Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of the limiter. We don't need that anymore. That didn't really mess anything up either. And then let's go with it was a clutch limited slip differential. That's gonna be more affordable for sure. I almost don't think that like the budget may have been too high. All right, sports tires on here, alloy wheels. That's gonna help us out as well. Go to the brakes, and then we're gonna upgrade the rear brakes to vented discs as well. Let's increase the size of the brakes as big as we can get. We fixed the brake fade issue for the most part. This still shows slight signs of brake fade. And now it's saying the brake force is too high. So we still, the brakes are, okay, so let's increase, let's go with 18-inch wheels, and then we can make the brakes a little bit bigger. And hopefully that'll fix our brake fade issue completely. And it does. We just need to tune the brakes because they say the brake force is too high, which the front force, that's 100 and, that seems way too high for the front brake force, and let's reduce the rear brake force as well. Did that fix that? It always says the rear brake force is too high whenever I build a car. I don't know why that is. I'm not terribly concerned with it. It says the front tires are narrow, so let's go ahead. 205s in the front. That's good. Rear brake force is still too high. The rest of the stuff I can deal with. Let's also, let's see, where were we at budget wise now? So we're back up to basically the original price of the car. So we have technically only spent $100 over what the car originally cost. So we still have basically our entire budget to work with, which is great because we still have haven't really changed much. Really, I mean, we've changed a lot, but we haven't really gone crazy or anything like that. So we could probably go back into the engine and maybe put more of that into the engine. I think I do want to keep this rear-wheel drive just for maximum tunability. Let's throw a sport preset on here now. That dropped it quite a bit. Let's see. Now it's saying dampers are hard, but again, it's going to be hard because we're going to be driving it on the track. That's fine. What if we went with... I mean, yeah, we got the budget for it. Let's just go... I don't know. Let's jump up to... Yeah, let's really upgrade that suspension. Let's go like that. Let's really upgrade that suspension. So now, okay, we've spent a little over... Oh, that's like what? Like $900 now over the original cost. I kind of wanted to put as much of that back into the engine now as possible. Let's go back to the engine, and we'll start upgrading this a bit. Because right now it has -2 quality. Let's just bump that up to an even 0. And then let's upgrade the crank to forged steel. That's going to increase our RPM limit as well. And then the con rods, we can do... Let's go lightweight forged. It's actually less expensive to use lightweight forged con rods than it is to use cast. So why wouldn't we do that? It's going to save us a little bit of money even. Not the same can be said for the pistons, but again, we have some money to work with. So now we can rev to 6,300 RPM safely. So let's go up to 6,100 RPM, like it says we can do now, and that gives us another 12 horsepower or something like that, which is great. Engine has unutilized fuel octane, so we could increase compression. Does that get rid of that? It does. Okay, so it reduced the power a little bit, but not terribly much. So after adding +3 quality, I was able to increase the cam profile and stiffen up the springs and lifters, and also increase the compression a little bit. So now we're up to 328 horsepower, and we still have a little bit of money left to spend. So let's just keep putting a little bit more quality into the engine. Oh, maybe we should go back to here and just double check to make sure that the quality settings are where they should be at. So I think I'm just going to go and increase quality settings on a couple different things. Yeah, all right. So we still have $300 to work with. Bump up the quality on the drivetrain, and that's too much now. So what if we just went with the manual transmission instead of the auto manual? That saves us a little bit of money there that we can then put back into something else. All right, so we're $200 under budget, but that's not a bad thing. I don't know if I can find anywhere else to you know, do that with. But we've more than, I think, let's see, how much horsepower did we actually end up adding? So we went from 205 horsepower to 328. We kept it naturally aspirated because I don't know. I feel like if I added a turbo to this, it would probably be undrivable. Not undrivable, but it would be because the turbos in this game, like, they add a ridiculous amount of horsepower, which is good if you want to do that. But we still want to be able to drive this car. It's still a 5-door hatchback basically. So now that we have modified it, stripped out the interior, we sold all those components, and then we upgraded it within our budget of $5,000. And now we have the bones of a race car here. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to design this car, and then I will take you on a little bit of a tour around it, show you what I do with it to make it race ready, basically. And then I'm going to take it into BeamNG.drive, and we're going to test it out on the track. So I will see you in a little bit. It's going to be a little bit for me because I'm going to go design the car. But for you, it's only going to be a few seconds. So I'll see you then. All right, and here we are. Here's the car after I have finished designing it. So I'm really happy with the way this design worked out. I felt kind of inspired by kind of like Audi or a little bit of Subaru, I guess, with the blue paint job and the gold wheels. But I really like the way this design ended up working out. I widened up the track for the wheels and added these nice fender flares there. I've got all the hood latches and the tow hitch on the front for maximum race car. I've got a nice diffuser, not diffuser. Got a nice splitter with these canards on the front, a nice diffuser on the back. I kept everything like Automation branded because it is a car that was originally built by Automation. So I thought, why not? I'll just keep everything Automation branded because that's what this is. It's an Automation car that I upgraded for racing. I got this roll cage in there. I'm now noticing that the driver's seat sticks out of the car a little bit. That's fine. It's whatever. I'm not terribly concerned about that. It's structurally sound. I don't know. I'm not gonna fix that. Who cares? But yeah, there we go. There's the race car that I made from Automation's generated by the AI car. So let's take this thing into BeamNG.drive and let's see how this performs on the track. Do the drag strip thing. I'll take it off the car jump, all the stuff I normally do, and yeah, we'll see how this stacks up against everything else I've made so far. Alright, so here we are in BeamNG.drive with the... I didn't name this one. It's just the pony budget car that I turned into a race car. As you can see, the wheels did not come in as gold for some reason. I don't really know why. And yeah, the seat is still sticking out the window. But other than that, it looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with the way that this one turned out. I think it's a good looking car. So let's drive it around West Coast USA. Oh man, that is quite loud. Hopefully you can still hear my voice over the sound of this car. It is very loud. Of course, I did remove the exhaust and all that stuff, so it's just a straight 6 engine going into a straight pipe, and it's clearly very loud. Pretty quick car. I did drive it around a little bit before I started recording just to make sure it worked. And I accidentally made a really good drift car. Of course, we're just on the highway right now. Let's see the first exit I can get off of. This thing really likes to slide around, and I think that's a good thing, personally. I think it, you know, makes this car very fun to drive, of course. It doesn't, like, spin out very easily. It's definitely, it kind of holds the drift pretty well for being a station wagon. But yeah, I think it turned out pretty good. I do regret not making a duplicate of the original car that Automation made as like a point of comparison. So I do regret doing that, or not doing that, because I feel like that would have been a nice way to see how my upgrades actually improved things. But other than that, I really do like the way this car turned out. If I ever do this again in the future, I will make sure to do that, because that, I feel like is probably a better thing to do. But yeah, this car, you know, slides. I was just saying it doesn't spin out. I spun it out. I can be a little lead-footed sometimes. That was my mistake there. But yeah, I mean, it's a really fun car to drive. It's not the fastest thing in the world, I don't think, but again, for a budget of $5,000 to make this budget pony car into a budget race car, I think we did pretty well. And it's just fun to slide around the streets of this fake San Francisco that is the West Coast USA track. And there we go, spin it out again. Yeah, nice. Oh, that's a nice drift section right there. Almost looks like I know what I'm doing. Almost looks like I know what I'm doing. I can drift a little bit in this game. For playing on automatic transmission and with a controller and no wheel, I can do a little bit of sliding around. So yeah, that's what this car likes to do. It likes to spin out and do donuts and drift and stuff. But I think that's pretty good. So yeah, that's kind of how this exported into BeamNG. Let's take it to the track and really put this thing to the test. Alright, here we are at the Automation test track in the car that Automation built, and then I turned into a race car. This budget pony car is actually a station wagon. Doing a full lap here. I did go through every other car that I featured on this channel and did a full lap with them. So I have an official lap time now for everything. I know I did 2 laps of everything in the past, but I'm going to keep everything to 1 lap now because I think it just makes for a more interesting video. I think the 2 lap thing just took too long, both to record and also just to watch. I mean, usually I run out of things to say by the 2nd lap, so I feel like it wasn't really that interesting in terms of content. And also, this is a track that doesn't really benefit from a flying lap as much as maybe some of the other ones do. So I'm just going to leave it at 1 lap. But I did actually set a lap time in every other car that I've featured on this channel, so there is something for this to kind of stand up against when I do finish this lap here. There will be a leaderboard that I can kind of measure it up against. But really slow down here for this double apex turn here. Again, lots of surprising amounts of wheel spin in this car, and I think it's because I probably should have done something with the actual suspension other than just upgrading the shocks and springs and stuff before I started spending money on upgrades for this car. But it is what it is. I think it actually kind of helps, you know, the driving character of this car, in that it does slide around. Ooh. Really slides around a lot there. Again, there's like quite a bit of wheel spin coming out of turns, and there's some like pretty bad oversteer when you step on the brakes. You just got to really be careful to rein this car in if you want it to do what you need it to do. But we're already coming on to the final turn of the Automation test track lap. It's gonna be like a 220 with and change there. that's going to put it kind of right in the middle of our leaderboard so far. So here you can see every car that I tested so far. This ranks at number 6 out of all of them, ahead of the DSM Stampede Adventure, which is the muscle car that I turned into an off-roader, and right behind the Sanduichi Torrent street racer. So that's a little disappointing that it wasn't as good as the little street racer that I built, but I don't know. I think that car actually ended up costing more than this one did, so maybe that's the better way to put it. And again, this is a big station wagon rear-wheel drive versus an all-wheel drive small coupe. So I don't know. That's probably a better way to look at it that way. But let's see how this actually performs at the drag strip now. All right, here we are at the West Coast USA drag strip now. Oh yeah. I forgot to mention, this engine, I think, sounds awesome. I mean, it's a straight 6. It's just good. It's just a good sounding engine. All right, so let's see how this actually pulls, what kind of time it puts down at the drag strip. Let's rev it up, count it down. Here we go. Again, it's not going to be the fastest car, I don't think. But it should put it down a pretty decent time. Oh, that's a high 12 seconds. That's actually not great. That's actually not that good. That's slower than the UFO, which did have 1,000 horsepower, but it was also floating off the ground. And that's slower in the drag time than that DSM Stampede Adventure. The only thing it's faster than is the Sanduichi Torrent at the drag strip. So slower around the track, faster on the drag strip than this car. So I don't know what that means exactly, but it's not a terrible time, just not maybe as fast as I'd expect. But enough of that nerdy stuff. Let's go take this thing off of the Car Jump Arena jump. All right, and lastly, as always, we're at the Car Jump Arena, trying to see how far this thing can fly. As always, I will be putting a link to the download for this mod in BeamNG in the description below. And you know, if you got it this far into the video and you liked it, hit the like button. If you want to subscribe, that's cool too. I'm going to be continuing to do more automation content as always. This was a really fun video to do. It was just a weird idea that I had to modify a automated build. So yeah, I had a lot of fun with this, and I think I might. I don't know. I'm not gonna make this like an every week thing, but I don't know. Maybe once a month I'll do this if people like this video. If nobody likes this video, then maybe I will never do this again. But for now, I really enjoyed doing this. So let's see how far this thing flies off the Car Jump Arena, and what it looks like when it's all smashed up. So quickly over the hill there. See how fast this thing can get up to before we get off the jump. Getting up to 166. Nose straight up in the air. And it's going to come crashing down at around the 3:25 mark, like 3:30 or so. And it is rolling end over end over end. The good thing I put a roll cage in there. And it smashes up against the guard tower. And there you have it. There is a car that Automation built for me, and then I took it, I put $5,000 into it and turned it into a race car. I had a lot of fun making this video. I hope you had fun watching it, and I hope that you have a good rest of your day or the beginning of your night. I don't know. Nobody says that. Why am I saying this? It doesn't make any sense. All right, bye.